The 7 families who disappeared from this American town. In the winter of 1958, something strange happened in a small American town called Blackwood Hollow. 7 families lived there, 43 people in total. They had houses, farms, businesses, and neighbors who had known them for years. Then, over the course of just 3 nights, all 7 families disappeared. Their houses were left unlocked. Dinner plates were still sitting on tables. A baby's crib was still beside a warm fireplace, and in one house, a pot of coffee was found boiling on the stove. But there wasn't a single person left. No bodies, no abandoned cars, no goodbye letters, nothing. For more than 60 years, nobody could explain what happened, until one old photograph changed everything. Blackwood Hollow was surrounded by thick forests in the mountains of West Virginia. It wasn't a large town. There was one grocery store, one church, a small post office, and fewer than 200 residents. The 7 families at the center of this mystery had lived there for generations. The Miller family owned the general store. The Carter family operated a small farm. The Wilsons ran the local repair shop. The Bennett family had 3 children. The Harris family lived near the edge of town. And the 2 remaining families, the Brooks and the Andersons, lived closest to the forest. They weren't strangers. They celebrated holidays together. Their children went to the same school, and everyone knew everyone. That's why what happened next terrified the entire town. On the morning of December 12th, 1958, Samuel Miller opened his grocery store as usual. A neighbor saw him unlocking the front door around 7 in the morning. But when customers arrived an hour later, Samuel was gone. His truck was still parked behind the store. His coat was hanging on a chair, and the cash register was open. At first, people assumed he had simply stepped outside. Then his wife and 2 children disappeared. By sunset, all 4 members of the Miller family were missing. The sheriff searched their home. There were no signs of violence, no broken windows, no blood, nothing. Just an unfinished breakfast sitting on the kitchen table. Then something even stranger happened. The next morning, the Carter family disappeared. Then the Wilsons. By the 3rd night, all 7 families were gone. The sheriff brought in search teams. They searched the woods. They followed roads leading out of town. They checked hospitals, train stations, and nearby towns. Every missing person's photograph was distributed across the state, but nobody found them. Their cars were still there. Their money was still there. Their personal belongings were still there. Even the family dog belonging to the Andersons was found chained behind their house. The strangest discovery came from the Bennett home. On the kitchen wall was a handwritten message, only 4 words. "Don't follow the lights." Nobody knew what it meant. The sheriff initially believed it was a warning written by one of the missing family members, but investigators couldn't determine who had written it. And then the case went cold. Years passed. Blackwood Hollow slowly became a forgotten place. Some residents moved away. Others refused to talk about the disappearances. The forest surrounding the town became the subject of local legends. People claimed they saw strange lights between the trees at night. Others reported hearing voices coming from deep inside the forest, but there was never any proof until 1974. A construction crew clearing land several miles outside town discovered an old underground structure. Inside were dozens of personal belongings: shoes, children's toys, photographs, wallets, and 7 family Bibles. Each Bible belonged to one of the missing families, but there was no sign of the families themselves. Then investigators found something hidden beneath the floor, a metal box. Inside was a photograph. It showed all 7 families standing together, but the photograph had been taken only days before they disappeared. And in the background was something nobody recognized. A tall wooden door standing alone in the forest. The photograph was examined repeatedly. Some investigators believed the door was part of an old cabin. Others believed it was simply a storage structure. But there was one problem. No structure matching that door existed anywhere near Blackwood Hollow. Then an elderly resident named Eleanor Brooks came forward. She had been a child when the families disappeared, and she remembered something. She said that several nights before the disappearances, the 7 families had gathered at the Anderson house. They were frightened. They had discovered something in the forest. Eleanor claimed her father told her never to go near the old mine because people had been hearing strange sounds coming from underground. She remembered seeing lights moving through the trees, and then she said something that investigators could never verify. Her father told her, "If they come back, don't open the door." Eleanor died several years later. She never explained who they were. Today, Blackwood Hollow no longer exists on most maps. The old houses are gone. The forest has reclaimed much of the land. The disappearance remains officially unsolved. There are no confirmed deaths, no confirmed survivors, and no explanation for where 43 people went. But the photograph still exists. 7 families standing together, 43 people looking directly at the camera, and behind them, that mysterious door. Some believe the families were victims of a secret crime. Others believe they discovered something hidden beneath the forest. And some locals still believe the warning on the wall was meant for anyone who might someday find them. Don't follow the lights, because, according to the last person who claimed to see them, the lights still appear in Blackwood Hollow. Only now they move much closer to town.